next, Elon Musk.
Oh, I'd like to just acknowledge the incredible work of the people at SpaceX and NASA and everyone in creating this technology, and in what has culminated in this incredible launch today of getting astronauts back to orbit after almost a decade. I think this is something that should really get people, right on the heart of anyone who has any spirit of exploration. And the United States is a distillation of the human spirit of exploration. I think this is something that's particularly important in the United States, but appeals to everyone throughout the world who has within them the spirit of exploration. So, I'm really quite overcome with emotion on this day. It's kind of hard to talk, frankly. It's been 18 years working towards this goal, so it's hard to believe that it's happened. We haven't quite yet docked at the space station, and of course we need to bring them back safely, and we need to repeat these missions and have this be a regular occurrence. So it's a lot of work to do, but it's just incredible. I think this is something that everyone, this is a craft made by humans, for humans. This is like something that I think humanity should be excited about and proud of occurring on this day.
Thank you. Our next question comes from Jackie Waddles of CNN.
Thanks so much for doing this. I was curious, this question is for Elon, if you had heard from President Trump yet and what he might have told you and what you might have said to him about this. Thanks so much.
Well, I've not spoken one-on-one with him. I just essentially heard the press conference along with everybody else. So we've not exchanged any direct comments.
We had a few moments in the firing room there after the launch, and I'll tell you that
Sure.
The president is excited. Of course, he congratulated Elon and the SpaceX team, and I thought it was a good moment.
Yes, it was with a group of people, but yeah.
Oh, sure.
But yes, he certainly congratulated the SpaceX team and NASA and everyone involved, and I think this just to echo the NASA administrator's comments. I think this is a day that I think everyone can be proud of. That it's a good day to be. This event is something that all of humanity can get excited about. It's just a fundamentally positive, good thing, and I think we need more positive, good things in this world.
Elon, Gwynne Shotwell said right before liftoff that she had her stomach in her throat. She was super nervous. I'd like to know how you were feeling in the minutes leading up to liftoff today, your emotions, your feelings of having to stand there and watch all this unfold. Thank you.
Well, just speaking straight from the heart, on Wednesday during the first countdown, I'd say that my adrenaline was railed at 100%, and when the launch was called off, it went to 0%. It was like I just basically collapsed and slept the longest time I'd slept in probably a year. Then, oddly enough, today, I don't know. It felt like the fates were aligned, and I didn't feel nervous. It felt like it was going to work, and it felt like the right thing was going to happen. So, for whatever reason, I did not feel nervous. Yeah, they've been flying it around. Actually, it's cool that they took it off automatic and just were manually flying the craft around. It's got to be pretty fun, just zipping around space and spacecraft.
Everyone's childhood dream.
Yeah.
Have you gotten any input from Bob and Doug? Is it smooth ride? What was it like? Thank you.
No.
I don't have a
It was a very smooth ride. You can see on the I think on the webcast it looked quite smooth. In fact, there was a friend of mine who's a filmmaker said you need to put some shake into the camera to make it look more realistic.
I realize the mission isn't over, but it's a significant achievement at this point. What's the impact of success for this program on SpaceX as a whole? including development of Starship?
Well, I think this is obviously a tremendous accomplishment for SpaceX in partnership with NASA and a number of critical suppliers. In fact, if I think about the total number of people involved in making this mission successful, it probably adds up to 100,000. So I'd just like to express a word of appreciation and congratulations again to everyone involved in making this successful. And just a special word to the administrator and Kathy, and it's just everyone involved. It's just wow. Anyway, it is a little hard to process. I think at this point I am somewhat overcome by emotion to try to come up with cohesive sentences that make any sense. Is quite difficult. But I think this is hopefully the first step on a journey towards a civilization on Mars, life becoming multiplanetary, based on the moon and expanding beyond Earth, and life becoming a multi-planet species, life becoming multiplanetary for the first time in the 4.5 billion year history of Earth. I think this is hopefully the first step on that journey. It will require a tremendous amount of innovation and technology development to make going to orbit and ultimately beyond orbit a routine matter where thousands and perhaps ultimately millions of people can travel to other planets. That's what we really need to achieve over time. That's obviously a very difficult goal, but that's seeming increasingly real with what happened today, that getting people to orbit finally after 18 years. If we are able to increase the rate of innovation, then life can become multiplanetary. This is the goal we should strive for.
Elon, if I could ask you, you put the window in the cargo dragon as a symbol of your ambition of flying people. I wonder if you can talk a little bit about how, over these very long years, you kept your team focused on human spaceflight as the ultimate goal, even though obviously they've been working on so many other things along the way. Thanks, and congrats.
Yeah, human spaceflight was always the goal, the fundamental goal of SpaceX. Well, like I said, to create the technologies or help create the technologies necessary to make life sustainably multiplanetary. I cannot emphasize this enough. This is the thing that we need to do. We must make life sustainably multiplanetary. It's not one planet to the exclusion of another, but to extend life beyond Earth. We are life's agent in this regard. All the creatures and the plants and everyone that exist here on Earth, we can bring them to other planets, and it's very important that we do so as soon as possible, I think, while the window of opportunity is open. I call upon the public to support this goal and to think about this goal and think about how important it is and how fundamental it is to the future. We've got to get it done. The launching satellites is nice, of course, and it keeps we've got to bring in more money than we spend. This is important, but it's ultimately all about life beyond Earth.
Hello, thank you, and congratulations. My question is for Elon. You said last week that you had told Bob and Doug's two little boys that you would do everything you can to bring them home safely. Even with a safe launch out the way, that must still weigh on you throughout the mission, though. And I wondered if you can share some personal insight into what it's like to have that responsibility, not just with your SpaceX hat on, but as a dad. Thank you.
Well, it really hit home, when you meet somebody's kids and the vehicle that they're responsible for, that their life's at stake. It really hits home. So, there's still, so we still got to dock with the space station. We still got to return. I think there's an argument that the return is more dangerous in some ways than the ascent. So we don't want to declare victory yet. We need to bring him home safely, make sure that we're doing everything we can to minimize that risk of re-entry and return. We were able to do that with the Demo-2 vehicle, so we were able to retire a lot of risk with the re-entry there. That's a big deal, but yeah, anyway, you can get it choked up here. So it's really this. Yeah, I'm getting choked up. Sorry, I'm not sure I can answer the question any more than that. Except, yeah, we're gonna do everything we can to make sure he gets home safely. Well, I just want to say that I think we would not have achieved this level of safety without the tremendous support from NASA and your team. NASA made us way better than we would otherwise have been, and obviously we couldn't even have got started without NASA. So thank you very much for your support.
Could you expand on Starship development and about when you expect you'll go around the moon?
Well, I tend to be a little optimistic about schedules. But I'm optimistic in general, so I guess that extends to schedules too. I don't know. I mean, I guess I would wish that we could do it in 2 years. I don't know. That might mean 4, but I don't know. I think it's not out of the question that it could be 2 years. I would be surprised if it took more than 4.
Said you've been working toward this moment for 18 years, and you've certainly encountered a lot of resistance along the way, even, I think, from NASA at the very beginning. What would you say to those who doubted SpaceX could do this? Do you have a message for them? And then what was your last conversation with Bob and Doug like? What did you talk about? Where was it? Thank you so much.
Do I have a message for those who... What? Oh, doubted. Okay, I was like, what did he... Okay. Maybe I'll just blank out the word doubt. No, I mean, to be totally frank, I doubted us too. So I thought we, had maybe, when starting SpaceX, maybe had a 10% chance of reaching orbit. So to those who doubted us, I was like, well, I think you're probably right. I mean, the number of times that I was told, like, because I was taking the money that I earned from PayPal and rolling it into to create SpaceX and Tesla, and I ended up spending it all. It wasn't the intention, but almost both companies went bankrupt. Frankly, 2008 was a tough year. It took us 4 attempts just to get to orbit with Falcon 1. But a lot of times people would tell me this joke, like, how do you make a small fortune in the rocket industry? You start with a large one is the punchline. And I was like, okay, I already heard that joke 12,000 times, anyway, and it almost came true. We just barely made it there. That 4th launch of Falcon 1, that's all the money we had for that 4th launch. And then, and that wasn't even enough to save the company. We also then had to win the NASA cargo resupply contract. So that came a little after, a little bit later, or right towards the end of 2008. Those are the 2 key things that saved SpaceX. Otherwise, we would have, not made it. So, hey, I think those doubters were, their probability assessment was correct. But fortunately, fate has smiled upon us and brought us to this day.